Hello and welcome back to the GSMC College Football Podcast, presented to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. On this Wednesday, May 28th, just delve a little bit into SEC, their meetings this week, and kind of some of the hubbub, scuttlebutt, whatever, the topics of conversation that have been kind of revolving around those meetings this week. We're going to switch gears. We're going to talk about some young kids now and some 2027 recruits and who I think they kind of remind me of in terms of current college football players. Just trying to get an idea of who some of these young kids coming up who could be the next future stars of college football. Always trying to look for those next big things. One guy in quarterback Peyton Houston is a guy I'm really looking at. 53 overall in ESPN's Junior 300 rankings right now. A guy that kind of reminds me of Garrett Nussmeier. So similar to Nussmeier, not elite size for the position. He's only 5'11", about 200 pounds right now. So under 6 foot, not ideal for quarterback. But if you get past that, this is a guy that can make every throw, looks good doing it. When it comes to pure passing acumen, Peyton Houston is a guy that has pretty much everything evaluators are looking for. One of the smoothest, cleanest releases in this 2027 class of quarterbacks. Honestly, in recent classes, in the past 4 or 5 years, extremely consistent mechanics. He looks the same throwing the ball every time. He knows how to get the ball to where he wants it to go. A guy that throws with power, with velocity. The ball really jumps off his hand and also is able to get the ball out really quickly. Defenses have a really hard time rushing him just because he gets it out so fast and is able to kind of get it to his receivers, get it downfield faster than they would expect. So a guy that doesn't really get rushed too much just because of his play speed and how quickly he moves to get that ball out of his hands. A guy that's really similar to Garrett Nussmeier in that aspect of just being able to make every throw, having the arm strength, having the mechanics to make every throw. Peyton Houston is very similar to that. A guy that is not currently committed anywhere, but is definitely going to be a big-time quarterback prospect for a blue blood program coming up soon, probably. Another quarterback, Elijah Haven, really interesting guy. He's actually ranked higher than Peyton Houston right now. Number 42 overall in ESPN's top 300. A guy that is kind of interesting. Similar to Austin Simmons, the future starter of Ole Miss football. Really incredible two-sport athlete. He kind of played several positions in high school and realized that his best football might actually be ahead of him if he kind of settles in at quarterback and really tries to hone in on some of those skills. So, a lot bigger than Austin Simmons is, though. This guy is 6'5", 215, so kind of similar to Joe Milton coming out of high school. Joe Milton, if you remember, former Michigan, Tennessee quarterback, guy that was a 5-star coming out, 6'5", 220, could throw the ball 85 yards. Elijah Haven's very similar in that aspect to kind of a Joe Milton. Has to still kind of iron out some of those technical quirks to really kind of maximize his arm strength, his accuracy over time. Again, kind of similar to Joe Milton in that aspect. But big, athletic, really raw at quarterback. Physical tools, though, that just can't be coached, can't be taught. And very good runner for his size, but not necessarily kind of a dynamic dual threat. This is going to be a guy that's more of a pocket passer, can use his legs when he wants to, but a guy that's going to try to extend plays more so with his arm than with his leg. Elijah Haven, if he really kind of works out some of those kinks just in terms of technique, this is a guy that has all the physical traits to succeed eventually as a next level starting quarterback. One running back I'm looking at, Kamon Spell. Now, this kid is currently the number 10 player across the country in ESPN's 2027 top 300 for the junior class. Currently committed to Penn State too. And if he does stay committed to Penn State, Penn State, they might not be lacking a running back for that long. Still going to have probably the best duo in the country this year in Katron Allen and Nick Singleton, but maybe a lull in 2026 until Kamon Spell comes in 2027. A bit short at 5'10", but not small. Kind of built similarly to Ashton Genty. Obviously, those are really lofty expectations, but in terms of build, really kind of similarly built. Doesn't weigh as much as Ashton Genty, but kind of similar just in how their body looks. This kid, though, low to the ground, scat back, plays in kind of a single wing T offense, so it's obviously you don't really see the wing T anymore in college football. Kind of more of a throwback offense, but so plays more as both a tailback and a wingback in that kind of wing T offense. But a guy that gets lost behind the line of scrimmage, is able to kind of fit into tiny creases and then just burst up to the second level, wins foot races in no time. It really kind of has the burst to make defenders miss in the hole, making up for kind of his lack of stature or power. This is a guy that's kind of really similar to Mekhi Hughes, the new Oregon Duck running back, former Tulane star, just in the ability to kind of hide behind the offensive line, burst into that second level, get upfield, be able to beat out guys in a foot race, able to run on the perimeter really well, get to the edge, turn that corner. Similar to Mekhi Hughes, Kamon Spell is really good in that kind of area, really strong, running on the perimeter, getting to that kind of second level. That's something that he does really well, and it's something that is going to make him be a really good running back to watch out for eventually down the line. Now, a wide receiver I really like, Jameer Brown, number 2 in the ESPN Junior Top 300, currently committed to Ohio State, to the Buckeyes. Gonna maybe continue that wide receiver factory that they've had for about 5 years now. A guy that kind of reminds me of Eric Singleton Jr., former Georgia Tech star, now at Auburn, but a guy that's just a handful. Has Jamar Chase-like burst and just getting up the field, acceleration, ability to kind of take the top off of the defense. That's really similar to like a Jamar Chase, just on that elite level, able to kind of use your speed, your burst, your acceleration to just create havoc for defenses. And a guy that has the physical tools to kind of overwhelm high school defenders, but really more so uses his polished route running to kind of showcase that he already understands some of the nuances of the position. And then if you look at his pure speed, 4.49 second laser time 40 in April 2025 as a junior in high school. 4.49 is pretty incredible. 10.5 second 100-meter dash in 2024. Max speed on film of 21.3 miles per hour. This guy is a burner. He's able to just do a lot with the ball in his hands. And a guy that, if you get the ball to him on a slant route, he can cut it upfield and turn it loose at any point in time. Hopefully, he can kind of develop more so some of those wide receiver skills. Still really has great route running, advanced knowledge for the position at this time, but can always kind of improve on some of the more nuanced aspects of the wide receiver position. One lineman, and this is ESPN's number 1 top 300 junior right now, is offensive tackle Kennedy Brown. Kind of reminds me of Armand Membu, former Missouri tackle, just got drafted by the Jets. A guy, though, that has the tools to really become kind of an elite coverage tackle. Based on his film, based on his really excellent performance at the Under Armour camp in Houston last month in April, really kind of stamping him as a 5-star was pretty easy. This is a guy that's not eye-popping in terms of physical stature. 6'4", which, hey man, I would love to be 6'4", but 6'4" for an offensive tackle, not super tall, not super big. Really long wingspan though, and really big hands, which are going to help him out just in terms of kind of evening out, maybe not having the ideal height for the offensive tackle position. Also probably not done growing, which is another factor here. This guy could easily be 6'6", 6'7", and that too would also address his need to kind of add some mass onto his frame. A little light right now for an offensive tackle, but a guy whose athleticism really stands out at this stage of his development, of his recruitment. Super light on his feet, really good body quickness, natural bend, and kind of at times his pass protection seems effortless. Like it's just another day in the office for Kennedy Brown. His areas of growth are pretty correctable, and a lot of it's going to come to with just much more physical maturation, just growing into his body, developing it, and going from a high schooler to, a young man, a guy that's going to add a lot more mass, a lot more weight onto his frame. A guy that's going to be scary, though, kind of when he gets everything clicking, puts everything together. Then, my last guy I kind of want to look at real quick is Zyron Forstall. Zyron Forstall, number 4 overall player right now in that ESPN Junior Top 300. Kind of reminds me of TJ Parker from Clemson. Needs to continue developing his frame, which is important, but kind of already looks like a much older player. He tests well. He explodes off the ball really well with good bend, pad level, able to kind of redirect when he gets too high in terms of his pass rush, and his effort also kind of allows him to factor into pursuit when plays are kind of broken. Beyond that excellent kind of skill set, tool set, has the acumen of a player who can make the jump to college right now. Uses his hands really well, kind of shows good awareness, able to quickly locate the ball wherever it is, and a guy that's always in the right position with continued development could really be a 3-down impact defender, guy that kind of already knows where to be, what spot to be in, but just with more development, with more reps, that's just going to continue to grow. This is probably the guy that's most likely to push for number 1 overall recruit status, a guy that kind of has all the tools you want out of a pass rusher, pretty polished for this stage right now too. So Zyron Forstall, another guy to really keep your eye out for. So right now, we're going to take our second break of the show. When we come back, we're going to talk a little more about the trenches, and we're going to talk about, is offensive line play declining? Kind of seems like it might be across the country. We're going to dive into that and discuss why when we come back on the GSMC College Football Podcast.